Good afternoon, Sanju.
Good afternoon, sir.
There will be a slight change in the order of the presentations, and you know that Saidur Rahman Laskar will be presenting in the last. So you will start your presentation in the first. Huh?
Okay, sir. Okay.
First Sanju, and then Dr. Dolan Ghosh, and then Doipan Mitro, and then Saidur Rahman Laskar. This will be the order. So be prepared for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Jolly Dash will be joining us in a few minutes, our chairperson for this particular technical session.
Madam, you are not visible.
I know it's very hazy. I think I should join from another phone. Just let me exit and I'll rejoin.
Okay. Okay. Should we start, madam?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, there was a glitch as usual. I think we can carry on.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I am Dr. Shamit Kumar Maiti, Assistant Professor, Department of English and IQAC Coordinator of Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya. And on behalf of the college, I cordially welcome all of you to this two-day national level seminar on the economic and literary trajectories of gig economy, the Indian experience, organized by the Department of Economics and English, Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya, in collaboration with IQAC, Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya. Now, dear participants, I am very honored and privileged to introduce Dr. Jolly Das, who will be chairing this technical session 3 of this two-day national level seminar. Dr. Jolly Das is now working as the professor in the Department of English Literature, Language and Cultural Studies, Vidyasagar University, Paschim Medinipur. And she was the visiting professor in the Department of American Studies, University of Graz, Austria, from 4th June to 11th June 2025. Till the date, she has supervised 6 PhD scholars in the Department of English, Vidyasagar University, and she has written extensively and published in different reputed journals, and she has also published in several edited volumes. So with this very small introduction, I would like to invite Professor Jolly Das to chair the session and to start with the proceedings of the day. So please proceed, madam.
Thank you very much, Shomit, for this introduction, which is something which I don't know. An expectation is created, and I really don't know whether I will be able to live up to it during the rest of my career in higher education, given the NEP, the entire system into which we have all entered now. So with the NEP in mind, we have scholars, researchers, teachers among us who are ready with their research work to share them with us during this very brief but very vibrant session. And I welcome all the paper presenters. But I have made a small mistake, Tommy can read. I have not made a printout of the session, so that the presenters and the paper titles are not here with me. So if you would just read them out, it would be very useful one by one, if it is not much of a problem for you.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. In fact, the title of this session is Representation of Gig Economy in Literature. And in this session, there will be 4 paper presenters. So initially it was scheduled that Saidur Rahman Laskar will be presenting first, but the order will be slightly changed and he will be presenting in the last. So may I now invite Mr. Sanju Bera, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Sukumar Sengupta Mahavidyalaya, to present the paper.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Just a few minutes to share my slides. Okay. Are they visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So good afternoon to all of you present here. Sincere gratitude to the organizers of this seminar for giving me the opportunity to present my paper, and my sincere regard to the chair of this session, Dr. Jolly Das. So the title of my paper is Reading Precarious Life of Gig Workers at the Interstices of Neoliberalism and Gig Economy in Ashok Mukhopadhyay's number 1 Akashganga Lane, or in Bengali it is Ek number Akashganga Lane. So in the introduction part in this slide, what I am trying to do, I want to focus on the precariousness of gig workers' life. Bureaucrats, elites, intellectuals, and academicians advocate the potency of gig economy to usher in an unprecedented economic growth through flexibilization of labor market. But this flexibility or flexibilization is a smokescreen or a kind of illusion, because labor market flexibility is an agenda for the transferring the risk or insecurity onto the workers and their families. We have found that there are lack of discourses on focusing on the life of the gig workers. Lack of these discourses on the precarity of gig workers in neoliberal India tells us that the complicitous involvement of policymakers for whom the growth of the nation is more important than the growth of the people. And this is very much clear that in spite of the GDP growth, India is lagging behind in the rate of social development of the people in comparison to other South Asian countries. And there are several forms of precariousness in the lives of gig workers. Gig workers persistently encounter job insecurity, income instability, lack of social security net like medication, mediclaim, pension, gratuity, provident fund, that are generally the permanent workers are entitled. The occupational hazards risk, discrimination in terms of gender, age, and religion, harassment from the customer, the lack of representation or recognition, and moreover, the algorithmic control that makes them a kind of isolated floating entities. Drawing on the concept of this precarious life, this paper makes an attempt to critically examine the representation of the vulnerability and fragility of a group of gig workers in Ashok Mukhopadhyay's number 1 Akashganga Lane, who ultimately form a human community based on solidarity and social cohesion. As a strategic survival mechanism to counter the ethics of neoliberal individualism or atomism touted so often by the gig and platform economy. Now, changing my slide. In this slide, I am trying to analyze the intersection between neoliberalism and gig economy, because that will help me to understand the historicize the interface between neoliberalism and gig economy, and that will help me to historicize the precarity of gig workers in neoliberal India. Gig economy is a particular version of neoliberalism, because the core logics of neoliberalism, individualization, entrepreneurship, marketization, and privatization are also the constitutive elements and enabling potency of gig economy. And this casualization and informalization of labor that was initiated by neoliberal economy ultimately has resulted into gig work. Because this gig work has distributed and allocated the risk on the gig works that reflects the neoliberal principle of responsibilization of the individual, because the profit is for the platform economy or the for the bosses, and the risk is for the gig workers. So moving on to the slide, I have set out threefold objectives of this study, which will guide my research here. The objectives are to critically examine the literary representation of the promises and the perils of the gig workers in India, to explore the precarious life of the gig workers in order to understand the dominant economic principles of contemporary India, to find out whether isolated gig workers can resist their exploitation through solidarity and community formation. Let me talk about a few things about the book Ek Number Akashganga Lane. The writer is Ashok Mukhopadhyay. It was written in Bengali and later translated into English by Janith Roy. This book is a story of relentless economic hardship redeemed by friendship and ambition. One of the protagonists, Sriman, a food delivery boy, knew very well that the riders could not afford to waste time complaining. Driving passengers around on her two-wheelers, Mritika, she is a rider, had learned how precarious life was for the female gig workers. They know very well that they were worse off than the factory workers. With a press of a button, the company could erase them. Sriman, Mritika, Somnath, Subra, and many others found the 100-year-old house Akashganga and its resident Bishan Basu, and he introduced them to the stellar universe that might need to live for a new planet. The book is a powerful and sensitive human drama showing the precarious lives of the gig workers in the agency, which is transforming itself with consumerism. The next slide, what I am trying to do, I am trying to examine the text through the different through the lens of precariousness or precarity, to investigate how the workers' life are structured and they are depicted, and how they articulate their resistances. Gig workers in Ek Number Akashganga Lane show obedient conformity to the digital design, which is predetermined by an invisible boss, for fear of deactivation that leads to the question of the process of flexploitation. It is a term used by Pierre Bourdieu in his book Acts of Resistance Against the Tyranny of the Market. It refers to the rational management of insecurity, because casualization and informalization of this new mode has dominated and created the lives of the workers and created a generalized sense of insecurity aimed at forcing the workers into submission and acceptance of exploitation.
Sanju, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You have 2
Okay,
minutes
okay.
left.
This is the last slide. Then one more slide, sir. Economic hardship of the gig workers demystifies the myth of the promise of progress. Instead, it shows profit for the platforms and the pain for the gig people. Gig society could best be described as a risk society, a concept propounded by Ulrich Beck, as the protagonists face physical and mental risks both during their works as well as in home. This construction or uploading of uncertainty, instability, in the society of the gig workers is a strategic mechanism for smooth functioning of the competitive market. COVID-19 is a glaring example because we have noticed that during the after the COVID situation, the capitalist bosses, their wealth has grown exponentially. Representation of the Greek workers as a precariat captures well the casualization of labor, melting down solidarity, social cohesion, and the sense of unity, and their power to unionize that leads to huge social costs. The house of Akashganga especially acts as an anchor to their life of constant mobility and migration, and it instills a sense of solidarity and friendship that effectively counters the neoliberal logic of individualism and competitiveness so often touted by the gig and platform economy. So in the concluding section, I want to focus on the crux of my paper. The dearth of literary texts on the experiences, vulnerabilities, and resistances against exploitation entails that neoliberal logic of the individual autonomy and entrepreneurial identity has been aggressively promoted and streamlined and also repeatedly performed, undermining the discourse of collective organization and mobilization. We need to understand the gig economy by taking notes from the below. That means from taking notes of the perspective of the workers. We have heard enough from the academicians, from the economists, from the policymakers. We have to also understand this gig economy from the workers' perspective. Workers' perspective matters because it gives us ample scope to understand the political economy of contemporary India, to understand the nature of capitalism in India, and also this understanding leads us to fight against its injustices or exploitation. So, ek number, Akashganga Lane offers an alternative picture, helping in the contrapuntal reading of the dominant ideological framework of this gig economy, which is actually a part of precarity capitalism. Thank you. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Sonju, for this. It's very difficult actually to put such a lot of very vibrant ideas together in such a short space, but you've done very well. I think we will take questions after all the paper presenters have made their presentations, because there may be questions which are common to more than one presenter, and anyone could take that question in that case. So I have managed to open the program schedule. I believe the next presenter would be Dr. Dolon Ghosh, who is working in the Department of English, Shakrai ABS Mohavidyalaya. And the title of her paper is Algorithmic Lives and Literary Precarity, the Gig Economy in India Through Economic and Literary Lenses. So over to Dr. Ghosh.
Good afternoon. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible. Sonju will have to remove his presentation.
Good afternoon, respected chairperson, distinguished guests, respected faculty members, and my dear friends. It is my privilege to present my paper here, which is entitled as Algorithmic Lives and Literary Precarity, the Gig Economy in India Through Economic and Literary Lenses. I have some technical problems. So if possible, I would like to request the technical partners of this session to share my PPT, if possible.
It's just a moment, ma'am. Just a moment. Give me a second.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, this is better.
This paper examines the rapid growth of the economy in India, both combined economy and literacy. In
Then I'm having issues. Is it the same for the others?
Yes, her voice is
Yes.
missing.
just a second. Audible now? Hello. Am I audible now? Hello. Am I
At times you're audible and then again your voice is breaking, so we can't understand what you're saying.
Hello.
Yes, please speak and let's see what happens.
Okay. And in recent years, platform-based work such as writing, food, and services has significantly reshaped how labor is
No, the problem is
experienced.
carrying on. We can't get what you're saying. What do we do? Do we move on to the next presenter and does Dr. Ghosh check her audio? Or we give
Yes,
another try?
I think we should move to the next presenter.
Okay, we
In
can
the
come
mean,
back to Dr. Ghosh
yes,
afterwards.
yes, yes.
So in that case, the next presenter would be Mr. Doipayan Mitro, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Shamanagar College, that's my hometown. And the title of the paper is Digital Precarity and Gig Labor in Shomir Boshu's Chosen Spirits. So over to Mr. Mitro.
Thank you, ma'am. I convey my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers, the Department of English and Department of Economics, ICOAC, Sheba Bharati Mahavidyalaya. My heartfelt gratitude and thanks goes to the chairperson, Dr. Jolly Dash. Let me share the PPT. Just one second.
Mr. Mitro, is it possible to switch on your video?
Yeah, I think it is visible. So,
Yes.
just give me a second. Yeah, the title of my paper is Digital Precarity and Gig Labor and Platform Dystopia in Samit Basu's novel, Chosen Spirits. So, India's gig economy, characterized by app-driven, short-term and freelance work, has grown explosively in recent years, driven by widespread smartphone use and a large young workforce. By 2025, an economic survey estimated India had about 1.2 crore gig workers, and projections suggest this figure could be more than double by 2030. Millennials and Gen Z are increasingly taking up flexible work opportunities such as ride-hailing services, food delivery services, online freelancing, and app-based content creation. These opportunities are attracting them because of the perceived flexibility and the promise of earning a supplementary income. For example, consultancy analysis reports that by 2030, about 60% of India's gig workers will work full-time with average earnings around 22,000 rupees per month, suggesting significant economic impact. New sectors are also absorbing graduates and urban youth, supporting the idea of a demographic dividend. Indeed, India's government notes an expanding digital economy and startup boom alongside this gig surge. Let me go to the next slide. This gig economy promises flexible work and entrepreneurial opportunities for young workers. This idea behind the gig economy is based on the idea of being your own boss. People have option to gig and offer services on demand, such as driving, delivery services, coding, designing, and content creation. In theory, this leverages India's large pool of digitally literate youth and underemployed graduates. Phones and low-cost internet mean even rural or semi-urban workers can tap urban markets. And this mirrors Samit Basu's dystopian novel, Chosen Spirits premise, which is set in a near-future Delhi where the tech-savvy middle class chases these digital opportunities. And the protagonist of this novel, Joey, is a reality controller who curates live flows for influencers, a kind of creative gig that requires skill in media production and marketing. Her role reflects how digital platforms open new freelance niches that did not exist a generation ago. But there is the other side of this coin. So let me go to the next slide. There is the element of precarity. So yet the promise of gig work comes with deep vulnerabilities. The latest data confirm that many gig workers face low, unstable earnings and lack social protection. As the economic survey notes, about 40% of gig workers earn less than 15,000 per month. With highly volatile income, there is no guaranteed work hours, there is season demand, and the gig workforce remains predominantly informal. Few have formal contracts, health coverage, or clear career progression. Financial inclusion is weak, and specialized skills training is limited. Alarmingly, platform algorithms now largely dictate these jobs. One report warns platform algorithms control work allocation, performance monitoring, wages, and supply-demand matching. In practice, this means drivers or couriers race for points or bonuses. Ratings can make or break access to work, and opaque matching algorithms force workers to labor long hours for marginal returns. The economic survey explicitly links these digital controls to income volatility and burnout. So flexibility in gig work comes at the expense of autonomy and security. And this dynamic has been referred to as digital precarity. A recent academic study on ride-hailing and delivery drivers in India is an interesting example. In the absence of formal labor rights or welfare, many gig workers depended on family, migrant communities, or social contacts to survive the COVID-19 lockdowns. Researchers describe India's gig workforce as digitally organized informality. Although apps connect people to urban jobs, the underlying social support remains the same old informal networks. If a platform driver falls ill or faces machine-driven denial of work. There is no formal safety net, only patchwork help from friends or hometown villages. Samit Basu's Chosen Spirits, published in 2020, stages a near future Delhi shaped by these very dynamics. It is a dystopian text, but very different from the Western counterparts. It is a post-colonial dystopia. So this novel is set roughly a decade ahead in a country that has slid post-democracy into an ultra-conformist surveillance state. Daily life is suffused with technology and algorithmic rule. Joey, a privileged 25-year-old, works for a mid-level digital media conglomerate in a fortified enclave, granting her relative comfort even as society outside crumbles. This fiction uses the trope of a dystopian novel to stage or to dramatize how the gig or platform economy can both empower and exploit. Joey's job is essentially a gig. She manages media flows for an influencer, juggling freelance assignments, corporate deals, and streaming crisis. This portrays creativity and entrepreneurial energy. She is never jobless, but it also exposes the flip side. Her labor is surveilled. Vasu repeatedly shows Joey conscious of being watched by ubiquitous algorithms and cameras. She often feels her life is under constant surveillance, a panopticon society. So scenes depict her nervous about phone trackers, smart tattoos that bugger her sleep, and emergency alarms in her enclave. So an analysis of the novel basically shows that both Joey and Rudra, who is a young hockey player drawn into the media world, they carry a psychological burden from knowing their data points in an algorithmic system. In other words, Basu dramatizes Zubov's concept of surveillance capitalism in a fictionalized form. Chosen Spirits world is one where personal data are commodities and every move is tracked. The novel also anticipates the social inequality woven into a gig platform life. Joey is part of India's urban elite. Her comfortable lifestyle stands in contradistinction to her parents and the masses. In one scene, Joey watches news of displaced refugees and riots, while her parents bemoan how they have lost jobs through algorithmic catch-22 situation. Indeed, they had not had steady work in years, quote unquote. Importantly, Chosen Spirits shows the gig world's contradictions. Contradiction is at the heart of this city. On one hand, Joey's work is creative and fast-paced. She relishes curating flows and solving PR crises. On the other, the same tech that enables her career is oppressive. In the novel's world, gig platforms have become surveillance regimes, a newer form of surveillance, a model of surveillance. Joy's every career step is guided by data, just as real gig workers. Tasks are guided by opaque algorithms. When she tries to take weekends off, her devices still nag her to check in, reflecting how gig apps keep workers always on call. Basu also shows how marginalized people fare worse. There is a subplot following Rudra, who, despite talent, is sidelined in the flow economy by entrenched connections, echoing how not everyone accesses gig opportunities easily. The novel repeatedly notes that technology has upended old class hierarchies, yet hierarchy persists. Even in this future, class structures keep reaffirming themselves even as technology, and the transforming economy upend the established class hierarchy. Thus, Basu subtly critiques the notion that gig work from anywhere gives equal shot. Instead, he underscores how social privilege still insulates from vast precarity. So I will go to the last slide. There are different slides, but because of the constraints in time, I would focus on the last slide only. Yeah. So these parallels between Basu's narrative and real gig economy trends are striking. The novel's flows economy of influencers and content creation is essentially a speculative extrapolation of India's digital gig sector. Joy's role as an isolated digital worker foreshadows reports that many gig workers today feel fragmented and isolated. Importantly, Basu doesn't show a utopian techno future, but rather issues a cautionary warning. He explicitly framed Chosen Spirits as an anti-dystopian vision because he refuses to call it dystopia, as it is very much about the present. And in conclusion, in sum up, Chosen Spirit serves as a speculative mirror to India's gig economy today. The real world data highlight enormous growth and opportunities, but they also reveal the contradictions, the acute precarity, low incomes, lack of security, algorithmic control, and gaps in policy. Basu's text locates and fictionalizes exactly these tensions and contradictions. He shows that a world where digital entrepreneurship exists but is subsumed by surveillance capitalism, where people are reduced to data and democracy's promises are hollow. His book suggests that without balancing innovation with worker protections, India's gig boom risks a grim future. As this analysis emphasizes that bridging this divide will require new regulations and workers' empowerment. Only then can the gig economy deliver on its promise, keeping hope alive, even if the world around it feels like a dystopia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for another dimension to the gig economy, about which we are gradually becoming more aware as people belonging to the academia. I would like to know whether Dr. Ghosh is ready for her presentation, or else we will move on to Mr.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Okay.
Am I audible now, ma'am?
Yes, that's much better.
Okay. On the surface of gig economy, it's often celebrated for offering flexibility, autonomy, and new income opportunities, especially for young workers and migrants also. However, beneath this promise lies a more complex and troubling reality. Actually, gig workers frequently face unstable earnings, lack of job security, absence of social protection, and increasing dependence on algorithmic systems that control their work in turbid ways. To understand this condition, I would like to draw on the concept of the precariat developed by Guy Standing, and renowned British labor economist. He describes a class of workers characterized by insecurity, unpredictability, and the absence of long-term stability. In India, this condition is not entirely new. It is deeply connected to existing structures of caste, class, and also gender inequality. The gig economy, therefore, intensifies rather than replaces older forms of labor precarity. Now, what makes this study distinctive is its use of literature as an analytical tool. This examined two important novels, The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga and The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy, to explore how precarious lives are imagined and represented. Now, in The White Tiger, the protagonist Balram Halwai describes society as rooster coop, where individuals remain trapped in systems of exploitations that they themselves sustain. This metaphor strongly resonates with the gig economy, where workers appear independent but are controlled through ratings, incentives, and digital surveillance. The novel also critiques the idea of entrepreneurship, showing how success within unequal systems often involves moral compromise. On the other hand, the Ministry of Utmost Happiness presents a different perspective. Instead of focusing on individual success, it highlights collective survival among marginalized communities. The Jannah Guest House, located in a graveyard, becomes a symbolic space of resistance, care, and alternative belonging. This contrasts sharply with the gig economy, which often isolates workers and prioritizes efficiency over human relationships. Another important aspect of this study is the role of intersectionality. Gig workers' experiences are shaped not only by economic conditions, but also by caste, gender, and also environmental risks. For instance, women are often confined to certain types of platform work, while marginalized communities dominate physically demanding sectors like delivery and transport. Another aspect is climate vulnerability further complicates this picture also. Outdoor gig workers are increasingly exposed to heat waves, pollution, and extreme weather, making the body itself a site of economic and ecological risk. However, throughout this paper, I would like to find some findings are there that the gig economy in India represents both opportunity and exploitations. It creates new forms of employment while reinforcing older inequalities also. Literature helps us to understand not just the structure of this economy, but also its emotional and ethical consequences. Though we cannot find the statistical report through literature, but we can connect it through emotional and ethical consequences. Now, in conclusion, I can say that the future of gig economy in India depends on how we address these challenges. There is an urgent need for legal recognition of gig workers, social security measures, transparency in algorithmic systems, and stronger collective representations. Ultimately, this paper argues that the gig economy should not be seen only as a technological innovation, but as a deeply human issue, one that demands both economic reform and ethical reflections. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for making the paper extremely brief, and this time you were perfectly audible.
Thank
But you put in all the important points in your discussion. So you have led to a lot of ideas which could lead to more discussion on this area. Particularly, you have raised the pertinent point about the humanitarian and ethical issues related to your area of discussion. Shall we now move on to Saidur Rahman Lashkar? Yes, he's already ready. He's visible. He is a teacher, a professor in the Department of English, Vidyanagar College, University of Calcutta, and the title of his paper is Moving Precariat in Urban Economic Culture and Fragmented Identity, Annie Zaidi's Name, Place, Animal Thing in the context of the gig economy. Over to Sahidur Rahman Lashkar.
Thank you, ma'am. Is it also audible from my part, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. So, with due respect to the chairperson, Dr. Jolly Dash, and the organizers, Mr. Rick Sharkar and Dr. Shumit Kumar Maiti. Here I begin. My research paper examines Anizaidi's play, name, place, animal, thing, through the theoretical framework of the gig economy and the concept of the precariat. The play foregrounds the precarious existence of Nancy, who is a domestic worker, a migrant domestic worker whose unstable employment and social instability reflect the broader condition of informal labor in neoliberal urban economies. Though the narrative centers on domestic service, it resonates with the contemporary gig economy, where labor is fragmented, temporary, and dependent on fluctuating demands. Nancy's situation embodies what Guy Standing calls the precariat, a class of workers characterized by insecurity, lack of social protection, and unstable occupational identity. There has also been a pragmatic shift in conceptualizing labor in the AI-dominated world. The term labor, initially associated with such signifiers like pain, struggle, and lack, now has been reduced to almost non-existence in planetary scale. And in a famous journal of Bengali, the name of the journal is Anushtup, where I have read a researched paper by Dipesh Chakraborty, who said enough on the concept of labor and how the definition of labor is constantly, getting changed. Jaidi's dramatic representation of Nancy's everyday life reveals a profound crisis of identity produced by the commodification of labor. Nancy is constantly positioned as an interchangeable service provider within the household, suggesting how workers in precarious economies are valued primarily for their functional utility rather than their individuality. The symbolic structure of the title itself, the title name, place, animal, thing, suggests a reduction of identity into categorical labels, reflecting the dehumanization often experienced by marginalized workers. This fragmentation of identity parallels the existence of gig workers who are often defined by task, ratings, and algorithmic evaluation rather than by stable professional roles. Now I am going to present my window. Is it share? Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the introduction, where I have tried to project the entire paper into 4 parts, talking about the rise of gig economy. I think it has been elaborated much from year studies, so I'm not going to talk about that. And then there is a shift to precarious labor. Literature reflects socio-economic change and vice versa. So it is not only literature which reflects the socio-economic change. We can also see that how this new normal economic system also producing a kind of literature which is absolutely in tandem with the society. And then I will talk about Jaidi's text itself. The concept of precarity. Here I have, tried to focus on Guy Standing's concept, job insecurity, lack of labor rights, protections, economic vulnerability, identity instability, and neoliberal capitalism. And the concept of precariat, the concept itself is, coined by Guy Standing in his book, The Precariat, The New Dangerous Class, 2011. Standing argues that the precariat is a distinct social class different from the traditional working class because it lacks stable employment, predictable income, long-term career progression, social and economic security. Workers are engaged in temporary, part-time, or freelance work with no guarantee of continuity. Employment is always uncertain. We have also seen that precariat workers often lack health insurance, pension benefits, legal protection. They exist outside traditional labor frameworks. And I have forgotten to mention that the term precariat is actually is a portmanteau of precarious and proletariat. And in this concept of precariat, Guy Standing tries to focus on the concept of identity crisis. Since work is unstable and constantly changing, individuals cannot build a consistent professional identity. And this leads to a substantial psychological fragmentation. Then there is a chronic uncertainty. Life is dominated by unpredictability. Income, work hours, and future prospects remain unstable. Then we have urban economic culture. This one is this new economic scenario is also in vogue. Urbanization and migration. We've seen that due to lack of job orientation in our village areas, so the workers are shifting to the urbans, and we see the migration of the workers. Informal labor markets, mobility, displacement, survival over stability. In the text, we will see the experimental narrative. It is not only the fragmentation in the economic structure, but also how well NSID has structured her play, which is fragmented, open-ended, and does not follow a unilinear structure. It is rather a non-linear structure. And the title is also very much symbolic. The name, the title, as we see that name, place, animal, thing. A name here talks of identity, and Nancy as a domestic worker, always in a process of projecting her name, but she finds it is very difficult to make a mark of her name. Then place, as in Heideggerian term called Dasein, we know that to be is to posit at a particular place, because if he sense of displacement actually hammers on our being in a state of anxiety. Then the second part of the title, animal, is very much important to all of the gig workers or the domestic workers. Since I have worked on this play, which is not particularly an app-based gig workers, but is a domestic in the domestic sphere. So we see that Nancy's animalistic instinct, to work all through the day and find out an identity is very much important to stress on. Then there's or objectification of human bodies or human identity. Okay. The play Name, Place, Animal, Thing unfolds as a tightly constructed single location drama. It is set in a middle class high rise apartment in a contemporary Indian city, focusing on the Malik's family and their domestic worker Nancy. The plot stresses Nancy's attempt to break free from her role as a live-in servant, and the Malik struggle to reconcile their self-image of kind employers with the reality of their dependence on and exploitation of her. Mr. and Mrs. Malik live in an upper middle class apartment. Their primary helper is Nancy, a young woman who has lived with them since childhood, brought from a village to work in the city. Over the years, the Maliks have fed, clothed, and even educated her, so they regard her as almost family, yet her status remains firmly that of a domestic worker and not a family member. Nancy's growing awareness of her limited future as a maid clashes with their unspoken expectation that she will stay in the house permanently, serving them. That was the expectation of Nancy, but she always, feels in clash with this concept. Nancy meets Kunal, a garbage collector who lives on the margins of the city and begins to imagine a life beyond service, including marriage and personal autonomy. Defying the Malik's assumptions, she decides to run away and marry Kunal, effectively rejecting the safety and structure of their home in favor of an uncertain but self-chosen life. Her departure shocks Maliks, especially Mrs. Malik, who feels personally betrayed and questions why Nancy did not ask before leaving. Now, in this gig economy, we see that the workers, they feel free to leave their job at any moment of hours because the contracts are made in such a way that they do not feel it comfortable for them to stick to a particular platform. Nancy returns to the building again after running away with Kunal. She again returns to Malik's family, and she returns to the building, but not as a confident runaway. Instead, she appears vulnerable, perhaps in trouble or at risk, and reappears at the gate of the apartment complex with a bag, waiting for the Malik's reaction. How do they react? Mr. Malik sees her first and is torn between letting her back in and confronting the disruption her presence will cause. He eventually tells Mrs. Malik that Nancy is back, and this news reignites the tension inside the household. The couple's conversations reveal an uneasy tensions to Nancy's mind.
Please wind up in a minute's time.
Yes. So, in this paper, I try to talk about. I try to mention the concept of migration and mobility. That the gig workers like Nancy, who is a domestic worker, she always in a move to recognize her identity, and stabilizing identity at a particular place is also a matter of despondency for Nancy. She could not find a proper place to locate herself, and since she is always moving, the movement is in the movement. She is always in movement and in transit. So there is a loss of belonging. Then there is a temporary existence. She went to Kunal with a view to having a good future, but there also she could not find herself fixed at a particular place. So this is how I have tried to present my paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
to all four presenters. And now all 4 papers are open for discussion, questions if any. But let the questions be very precise, and if they are addressed to a particular presenter, please mention the name of the presenter. So now they are open for discussion. Let me go to the first presenter, Mr. Shonju Bera. Again, I have a very simple question for you. Given that the gig workers are they are operating in a system which works on algorithms and creates algorithmic platforms so that they can be managed, even manipulated if you want to go that far, would they fit into the workers, the old system of having labor unions which would look after their interests? How do you look at the relation between the old notion of labor unions and this new way in which the gig workers are operating?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, if I look at the bigger picture, look at the international arena, then there are certain movements in France also that they do not trust the unions. They do not trust any. They rather collectively organize a kind of struggle to make their demands fulfilled by the bosses, especially the capital platforms, and now it is time to look how they unionize, because right now the policy to atomize them, individualize them, it is very difficult to make a kind of collective bargaining against the uh, mm, uh, mm, uh, um, uh, owners, that means capitalist owners, platform owners, but their life in risk. But I think that, but rather I can hope that the risk has certain positive side also, because risks are necessary for community formation. It is the basis of, because from prehistory we have learned, from history we learned that risks are necessary for community formation. So I think they will organize, they will solidify to make their demands to develop their current situation from their from the platform owners. That is that I can say, ma'am, right now.
Thank you very much. Question for Dr. Dolan Ghosh. You have already mentioned in the context of the 2 works which you have chosen about the human issues related to this. Moving a little ahead, we almost all our families have experiences of interacting with the Aya community who look after particularly the elderly at home. And how would you, particularly those who come from the centers, again, they have a very rudimentary algorithmic pattern which operates in sending them to the different houses. My question is, how would you look at their distribution, their being sent on particular assignments, and their own precarity vis-a-vis the ethics of care which we expect from them?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, in my discussion, I have already discussed that gig economy in India depends on it in the economy. It represents in both way. It's an opportunity and also it's exploitations. Now, if in India, basically, it's historically rooted, but now these gig workers are reshaped in a new way. If this in this urgent need, they always need a legal recognition, and so if these workers can get a recognition, a legal recognition, and also social security measures and transparency in algorithmic systems, they will they will be a stronger representative for collective representations, ma'am.
Apart from the algorithmic system, which has to be much better, I personally believe that they also have to be trained in the ethics of care. I will not go into a detailed discussion because this is not the place. But traveling in a ladies' compartment where these ladies also travel, and the kind of exchanges which they have, this makes one extremely alarmed about the precarity which they engender for those elderly persons whom they are supposed to take care of. So this is a huge issue, and I think this also needs to be addressed in literature in the near future, I hope. I have a question for Mr. Dwaybayon Mitro. You have said that it is assumed that 60% of the gig workers will become permanent workers by 2030. Now, 2030 is a very interesting year because we are all looking forward to 2030 when the 15-year timeline for the outcome of the Sustainable Development Goals will have to be assessed to see what happens. So, how would you look at the relation between the hugely advertised and worked on United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 60% of people who are already in the gig sector becoming permanent workers?
Thank you, ma'am, for your question. The situation that is actually by 2030, it is actually we cannot say very much sure that in which way that trend will go. But as Samit Basu suggests in this particular text, that AI automation is actually reshaping the task and is actually the boosting demand for the digital skills. So it is almost like a kind of Frankenstein kind of situation. So we don't know actually that whether India is really going to be benefited or the newer regime will usher in a structure of domination where will be no social security and also a sort of income volatility that can be estimated by 2030 projection, keeping in mind those data that you have mentioned or I have referred to in my articles.
Okay, thank you. And finally, a question for Mr. Rahman Lashkar. You have brought in Nancy in your discussion because you have taken up a text which is a modification of a very, very popularly known play. So, girls, women going to metropolitan cities to work as domestic help have featured in plays. There is a play by Girish Karnad as well, Boiled Beans on Toast, where you have this kind of domestic help. What is your take on migrant labor in general who are moving out of their familiar places for the first time in their lives to work as migrant labor in the context of your discussion, in brief?
Actually, yeah, this talking about the migrant laborers and David Harvey's concept of neoliberal economic structure, we see that that can be a slash between an urban economic structure and the rural economic structure, and these domestic workers who are leaving their village areas. It is because of the lack of opportunities which are not created by the government. The initials should be taken by the government to bring forth them to their and provide enough opportunities and in their own sectors. So that is it has become very much political issues. This migration and uncertainty of the laborers, even though they are going to the foreign lands or other states, they are very much insecure there also, and they are thrashed, tortured physically. We have seen the issues of the linguistic issues here, thriving in West Bengal. The workers of the Bengal constantly being, received threats of speaking in Bengali. So I think, due to the lack of or the paucity of possibilities, they are moving, to the urban space. And even though they are moving to the urban space is also very much detrimental to their settlement.
Okay, thank you. Before I end, I would like to make a few comments. My observations are like this. Number one, in 3 of the presentations, the focal character has been a woman. So that is a point to be noted. So women gig workers in different sectors are drawing the attention of literateurs. My question is, why so? When they are so few in number, is it because their vulnerability, their precarity is greater than those of men? Or are they facing these challenges in a better way? That is one question. We have had references to different theoreticians, beginning with Bourdieu, to whom Mr. Bera has referred. Then we have had references to, of course, Guy Standing, Dipesh Chakraborty, Heidegger, so on and so forth. But I would draw your attention to, apart from the great man of postmodern criticism, who just passed away a couple of years ago, I would like to draw your attention to the Polish-British sociologist and philosopher Zygmunt Bauman, who in his very slim volume, Culture in a Liquid Modern World, has anticipated what we have been discussing here from the literary and economic perspectives. I would invite you to mull over these few things. What about the customers who are receiving the services of the gig workers, particularly the delivery services? Are they being confined to their private spaces, creating the absence of interactions and exchange of ideas, which may lead to more and more psychological and social alienation and their fallout? Is a large population like that in India a strength or a weakness in the gig economy and its representation in literature? And of course, the question of migrant labor. So this would be my takeaway from the wonderful paper presentations which were made, talking about algorithms, the gig economy, and the various ways in which this is opening up new possibilities, the contribution of the COVID outbreak to this kind of a system. And last but not the least, what is usually done in the beginning, I'll do at the end. Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya, headed by a very competent principal, and an IQAC headed by a very competent coordinator, and the different departments, because I have had the good fortune of interacting with a large majority of its teachers on a visit there. It's a wonderful college by way of its location, its infrastructure, its staff, and this seminar is just another marker of how wonderful the college is, how it is highly updated. So thank you collectively to the Department of Economics and the Department of English and all the other departments and everybody concerned, especially Shomik and Rick, for making it possible for me to join in this beautiful seminar. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and for sharing the session in this wonderful way. And on behalf of the paper presenters, I would also like to extend my thanks and gratitude for offering insightful comments and your thoughtful observations on the papers and for enriching the seminar with your experts' comments. Thank you all the paper presenters for joining the session and for your wonderful presentations. Thank you. Thank you all. So with this, we come to the end of the session and it is ended here and we'll move to the next technical session. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will start our technical session 4 now. In this session, we have 6 paper presenters. So, are you all here? Paper presenters of technical session 4.
I think, madam, there are not all of them are not present here. Let me call out the order in which they will be presenting the paper in this session. First of all, we have
Ramayani Dev actually joined before a few minutes. I don't know.
I don't think she will be able to present the paper at the beginning. She has requested that her paper might be slated at the end of the session. So the order will be like this: Dr. Kishore Dondopat, Dr. Surojit Sengupta, Mr. Nantu Pal, Dr. Shubhankar Patro, Ms. Shunita Saha, Ms. Ramayani Dev. So if all of you are present here, then I think we may invite the chairperson to join this session.
Yes, I am Dr. Surojit Sengupta and I am present here.
Okay, sir.
Okay, our chairperson will be joining us in a few minutes.
Shunita Saha, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We will start the session as soon as our chairperson join. Yes.
Ma'am, you can start now. Our honorable chairperson has joined.
Sir, can you hear me? Debottam sir, can you hear me? Dr. Debottam Chakraborty, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. So, good afternoon, everyone. This is the fourth technical session of this two-day national seminar on the economic and literary trajectories of gig economy, the Indian experience, organized by Department of Economics and Department of English in collaboration with IQAC, Sheba Bharati Mahavidyalaya. And the title of this session is Precarity and Promise, Gig Work in India's Digital Economy. In this session, we have Dr. Debottam Chakraborty as our chairperson, and it is my privilege to introduce him in front of you all. Dr. Debottam Chakraborty is Assistant Professor of Economics at Sundarban Haji Desharath College, Pathankhali, West Bengal, India. He was a visiting faculty to different universities and colleges. He has a unique blend of expertise in academics and international banking industry. He has published several papers in national and international journals and in edited volumes. He has worked as a researcher in different government projects and has undertaken tasks of policy advocacy to various government departments under the projects of different national and international agencies. He has specialized in research, designing, planning, and execution of primary survey. So we are very fortunate to have him as the chairperson of this technical session titled Precarity and Promise, Gig Work in India's Digital Economy. Now I invite you, sir, to chair the session. In this session, sir, we have actually 4 paper presenters, and we will try to, we will have, yes, we have 6 presenters. Yes, we have 6 presenters, and we have 1 hour, 10 minutes for that. So now, sir, I request you to chair the session.
Okay, thanks a lot. So at the outset, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, so I want to thank the organizing committee of this seminar, especially Dr. Moshe Mitra, who contacted me for this seminar, the principal of the college, patrons, and all other concerned with this seminar for inviting me to chair this session. As we all know, India's digital economy has rapidly transformed the nature of work, giving rise to a vast and expanding gig workforce. So, enabled by platforms such as Uber, Zomato, and Swiggy, millions of workers now engaged in flexible task-based employment that offers some income opportunities to them, and also opportunity to enter into the workforce, into the labor market. But alongside this promise of flexibility and opportunities, the gig work in India is marked by significant uncertainty. So we'll discuss, I believe, in this session. So workers often face income instability, lack of social security, limited legal protections, rising concerns about long-term sustainability. So this will be some of our topics probably in this session. So in this context, this seminar, particularly this session, is extremely significant. So without wasting more time, I'd like to start the presentation straight away. So I think we have 6 presentations, right? So I think we can have 8 to 10 minutes for each presentation and 2 to 3 minutes for discussion. Is that fair enough?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
do it.
Okay. So our first presenter is
Sir,
Ramayani.
there is a slight change in the order of the presentation.
Okay.
So Ramayani Dev will present at the end of the session.
Okay. So we'll present first Dr. Kishore Dandapat. Next presenter will present now.
Kishore sir, are you here? No, sir, I don't think he's
Ma'am,
here.
I don't think Kishore Dandapat is present here. We can move on to the next presenter. Because
Okay,
time is
so-
of premium importance here.
Dr. Surojit Sengupta.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
I am present here.
Okay. So let's start the presentation.
Okay. I am sharing my slide. Just I am trying. Yes, it is visible.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, it
it's
is
visible.
visible.
But I cannot make it entire screen. Now, respected chairperson and respected organizing committee, respected principal sir of the college, myself, Dr. Surojit Sengupta, I am assistant professor of Bhairav Ganguly College. My topic is the influencing factors of happiness of gig workers in India. Actually, we all know that after or during the pandemic period, vast portion of our labor force, mostly from the informal sectors, lost their job, and using the platform like Zomato, Swiggy, etc., or Ola, Uber, they start their earnings. Now, actually, worldwide, we have seen the rapid expansion of gig workers, and also in India, due to technological progress, the gig employment is increasing, and as per Niti Aayog, it will be 23 millions by 2029 and 30. Now, if we consider the skill, 47% have medium skill, 22% high skilled, and 31% of them have poor skilled. But the various reports suggest that the amount of medium skilled workers, the volume of medium skilled worker is decreasing, while the portion of unskilled and unskilled and high skilled workers are increasing. Actually, gig workers have two types. Gig workers have two types. One is platform based and another is non-platform based casual worker. Now, considering the literature survey, now on India and abroad, several studies have focused on the gig employment, relation between the gig employment and economic growth. And their study have showed that performance-based grading system and commission-based schemes actually limits the worker autonomy. Moreover, unpredictable wages and almost zero access to healthcare and retirement benefits, coupled with ambiguous regulations and unexpected account deactivations actually largely affect their livelihoods and happiness also. Now, some studies have focused on the absence of adequate regulations regarding gig workers, and that affects their mental health due to job uncertainty. And some studies that found that though some reforms have been made, but they are not inadequate. That is, inadequate reforms are made in the gig worker, gig employment sector. Now, actually, I am trying to measure what factors affect their happiness. Happiness is also associated with employment. In this way, I have single objective. We are trying to find the factors that influence the happiness of the gig workers. However, I have collected 33 responses only because many of the workers, they are not like to respond because actually for security reason, using Google Form, I have collected these responses, but they do not paste the link, which is actually blue colored, that is for their safety security reason. So so far the responses I have received is just 33 or 34. I omit 2 or 3 responses. Now, to this end, actually, I applied the common econometric technique, that is logistic regression, binary logistic regression, and I have presented this model. Here, the number of independence variable ranges from x1, x2 to x8. In our next slide, here x1 is the age of the respondents. Actually, those 33 people all are male. X1 indicates the age of respondents. X2, their level of education, it is binary. Graduation above 1, below graduation 0. X3, nature of job, service sector 1, elsewhere 0. X4, time given in job, 8 hours or more than 8 hours 1, below this 0. Any social security benefits received from employer, EPS 1, no 0. Whether the any family members are employed, EPS 1, if no, 0. Average monthly income from the job, that is not qualitative data, and X8 represents the size of the earnings member from family. That is, in a family there may be 1, 2, 3, 4 earnings member. So we have considered all these. Now, this is model where we have found that the variable X4, what is X4? Time given in the job is positive and highly associated in improving the happiness of the gig workers. Next, the element is X7. What is X7? Average monthly income from the job. So income is one of the crucial factors. And the X8, that is size of earning member from family, have positive, go low, but low significant. We can take it as significant also. So all only these three factors, they are responsible for bringing happiness amongst the gig worker in India. Because in India, because among 33 responses, I have received 6 or 7 responses from Bihar. And the rest of the responses I have received from West Bengal, different parts of West Bengal. And so actually this may be a picture of our Eastern India. Now, if the model stability or something, another post-estimation analysis, what I have found that the log likelihood value of our model and log likelihood value in case of null, our model value is greater than the value null, that is only coefficient we have used. So it is greater, so it means our model fit, and goodness of fit model, that represents our model is well fitted, that is stable 2. It is evident log likelihood value of our fitted model is more than the log likelihood value of null model. It indicates inclusion of independent variables improve model fit. Then the model, our model predicts the observed outcomes under the null hypothesis. Is that model fits the data well? Our null hypothesis is accepted, so model shows no significant lack of fit. Now the ROC curve, that is area under ROC curve, that is false true positive and false positive, that is 90, 5.96, almost 96% of area are under AOC. I have done some predictive capacities, predictive test also. Now our conclusion that the time given in job has very high and positive influence on the happiness, because as we provide more time on the job, there will be a chance of more earnings, as this is one type of self-employment. In case of Ola, Uber, or in case of Zomato, Swiggy, if employee serve more, then he or she will get more from the job. So it requires some physical fitness also, not only the use of technology, but also some physical fitness it requires. So health condition as well as mental health condition is very much essential for sustain in this job. So happiness is one of the major factor that makes them happy, healthy. Now average monthly income, as we know, their income is not much higher, but in case of my responses, I have received some reports that some people earned more than 30,000 per month, and few people low hours spending in their job, they earn 5,000 or 6,000 as per their report. So as the income increases, the happiness also increases, because they can save more, they can consume more, and they can get some insurance. So in case of our study, I have found that only few 3 or 4%, they stated that they received some they have received some social security benefits from the employer. Now the size of the earnings member of the family, that also actually reduces our burden, because in case of large family size, if the earnings member are more, then we can share the burden of the family. However, the level of education, age, nature of job, and the social security benefits, what I have found that insignificant. So what I can say that about my paper, if the sample size is more than 150 or 200 or 300. So the result may change and we can establish a proper relation between the gig employment and the happiness of the people, gig worker in India. So that is my presentation. So I end here. Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, is there any question from anybody? Okay, so no question. Okay, so I have just one observation. That is basically when you're looking at the gig employment. So, what was the the range of the age and range of education? I would say.
Actually, I have received some people. They stated state that they cleared MBA, and some of them are graduate. Some of them HS or Madhyamiks to 10, and age ranges between 34 to 26.
Okay. Okay. So, what I would suggest is like if you just divide this data, like actually when the education level changes or if people get more educated, so their expectation also changes, right? So in that case, the happiness will also actually impacted by this factor. So say some people who is just here past HS, so his expectation would be much less and he would be happy with much less income, right? So you cannot compare that person with someone who has completed, say, MBA, right? So in that case, if you just have some classification over education and also over ages, because with ages actually people generally seek certainty, they actually thinks about future, they are actually more worried about their future. So in that case, I would say like actually that study would would give us a complete picture. So otherwise it's fine. Thank you.
Sir, actually my sample size is low, so I am not.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
All this.
So in that case,
Okay, thank you, sir, for your suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So our next presenter is Nantu Pal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, sir. I am Nantu Pal, Sect 1, Department of Economics, Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya. My paper is critical analysis the trend of gig workers and their social securities in that context of Indian economy. My paper is discussed by the three OA. Firstly, the trend of gig workers. Second is their social securities, and third is challenge of gig workers in Indian economy. Firstly, recently gig economy in India evolving as a giant labor markets characterized by temporary, short terms, flexible, independent, and
Sorry, are you sharing any PPT?
No, sir, I have no PPT.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, sir. So, own boss earning money quickly, work for multiple at once, choose your work, part of huge surplus labor are important features of gig workers that helps to expand gig economy in India. The gig workforce has grown by 55% in the last 4 years, from 7% millions in 2021 to 12 million by early 2026. Gig workers now make up over 2% of total workforce of Indian economy, and also GDP contribution is 1%. Now, non-platform based casual wage workers gradually increases, jobless growth, huge amount of surplus labor, rising inequality, growing of informal sectors, LPG models are important factors of increasing trend of gig workers in India. Also, mismatched demand and supply of the laborers, easy entry into job markets, no other opportunities of a huge labor force are also increase the gig workers. Secondly, over 30 one crores unorganized workers, including gig workers, are registered on the e-Shram portal by universal portal numbers and engaged for at least 90 days in a year will be eligible for Central Social Security benefits, that is CSSB, including health insurance under PMJOY. The contribution of 1 or 2% of annual turnover of gig platform is used welfare and social security fund. Approximately 40% of the gig workers still earn less than 15,000 per month, and also 10 minutes delivers no job securities are also safety risk. This part also directly related mainly securities, social securities related. Universal accounting numbers acts as a umbrella for multiple members, IDs allotted to the same individuals. So UAN is now directly related to gig workers in India, particular through the e-Shram portal, and access the social security of gig workers, platform workers, and other unorganized workers. Under the e-Shram registrations, gig workers, that is Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, urban companies, partners can register into a national database. And also Pradhan Mantri Jana Yojana is a government-funded health insurance scheme launched in 2018, provides 5 lakh schemes launched 5 lakh schemes for family per years for secondary and tertiary care hospitalized to over vulnerable families. And otherwise, social securities of the gig workers are also related on demand jobs, that is derived demand, and not exist the bargaining powers, and they are also engaged in medium skilled jobs, and also no arranged minimum wage acts. At present, different states government have arranged fund for the improvement of gig workers in the government budgets. And thirdly, the joint gig workers, due to lack of other scope of opportunity, skilled differentiation is an important part of the existing working conditions. Gig workers are treated as a third category workers whose services are engaged in platform or non-platform areas with labor exploitations. So there is no doubt that gig workers and their social securities will face a greater challenge to Indian economy in futures. And so gig workers are the future, and let's make it better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if there is any question. So no question. Okay, so good overview presentation on this gig workers and their job security. One suggestion I'd like to just intimate, that is basically with respect to the recent crisis, you can actually add some the section that is recent crisis is the oil crisis, I mean, because all the gig workers are dependent on that, I believe, right? Because they have to transport their food or different things in online platform. If somebody ordered some article, so then they have to deliver that, so they are very much dependent on that. So you can just add one section on that also, because India is not energy sufficient till date. So what will happen in this kind of cases, like what would be the impact on the gig workers, right? So this is my suggestion. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. I include your suggestions. Okay, sir.
Okay, so our next presenter is Dr. Shubhankar Patro.
Sir, Dr. Shubhankar Patro is not here. So I think we will invite the next presenter.
Okay, next presenter is Sunita Saha.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just sharing my presentation. So the screen is visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
So a basic study of this work is to take some factors which were in our semi-structured questionnaire related to the precarious work environment under which the food delivery gig workers are working. The slides are moving, sir.
Yeah, it's moving.
Actually, now, due respect to the chairperson, to the organizing committee of the college, and all other respected principals, sir, it is a great pleasure for giving us the opportunity for the presentation. The basic relevance of our study is that the online food delivery workers who are working in the Kolkata areas, specifically we have collected the data with related to the 15 delivery gig workers working in the Swiggy and Swiggy and Zomato platforms in the south and central Kolkata. The reason of selecting the food delivery sector is that as food delivery workers food is the basic necessity, and presently in our working life, these delivery workers are playing a very magnificent role by delivering the products within a minute after the booking of the product. But the dark side of this platform workers is that they are not getting all the facilities which the government is trying to implement. Now, in the very definition of the International Labour Organization, they have defined what is meant by precarious work, and there they have stated that here the employer is shifting the burdens, all the burdens to the employees, and they are all the employees who are working. They are working in the disguised or ambiguous employment structure, not getting any social protection, and they are not allowed to participate even in the trade unions. So, though they are said as platform workers or gig workers, they are facing obstacles to form the trade unions for which they can fight for the justification of the work. Our government of India has in the past, in the parliament, the Code of Social Security Act 2000, they have specifically under these section defined the gig workers, platform workers, and the social security factors which are to be considered as by the unorganized workers as well as the gig workers. But all the factors the government are taking, the companies are not giving them the facility. And presently, the government has also intimated to register the workers in the e-Shram portal by self-registration with the help of the Aadhaar card for getting all the government insurance facility, welfare schemes. But most of the workers presently, they are unaware of the things that are being provided. And another, the labor codes that has been incorporated. My previous respected sir has talked about the Wages Act. In the Wages Act also, they have it is being said about the Wages Act does not include the gig workers. Here is the drawback of our acts, which does not take the gig workers under the Minimum Wages Act. So that is the reason all the workers' wage structure is not in the same platform. And as this is a low entry barrier platform, so any workers are coming at any time. So the minimum rate of incentives is also getting reduced. This is one of the very new amended act, Occupational Health and Safety Act. This act also does not take gig workers into consideration, which is a very dark side of the story for these platform workers, because they are working in the roads where they are facing the road accidents, but no safety, no facility are being provided under the act. If act gives the protection to these gig workers, how can the companies, or why the companies will give the full safety to these workers? The factors are being that we have incorporated in our semi-structured interview guide was selected from certain literature studies, sir. And the main was low entry barrier, the payment structure, incentive, high competition, login hours and late night deliveries. Social protections are not being provided. Increasing operating expenses. They are talking about the huge amount of increasing of the mobile recharge, petrol expenses, and even the bike repairing expenses, all are required to be beared. And the last one was taken as the road accident, and under social protection, insurance schemes were also considered. The basic research gap of our study was that what are the precarious work environment with which the gig workers are working. And the research objective is that we have collected the living experience of the food delivery gig workers in South and Central Kolkata. The research methodology is qualitative research and phenomenological research with these 15 food delivery gig workers with their living experience. And 15 study was done with snowball sampling. Now, sir, we made a 1:1 interview with these food delivery gig workers. and it has been found that these workers they are all aware with the total system of insecurity. They are all aware with the total system of no work, no pay, and all the costs which are increasing, but still they are saying that they are working it with road accidents, with heat strokes, with customer bad behavior. There is no formal contract, there is no support from the team leaders always. Even the incentives, they have given the examples, sir, that the total expenditure is increasing, their savings are getting reduced to 400 to 500 rupees at the end of the month. So that is the minimum savings at the end. So these partners have to take huge amount of patience throughout the day, and long time of traveling brings fatigue, tiredness, even they are suffering from depression. This is one gig workers. All 15 I have not shown. Some of the areas which are being given in the factors of the study that has been I have highlighted. They are working for 12 to 18 hours, not able to have food on time, and though they have been assured that with death insurance, this gig worker said to me that they know that they have a death insurance of 7 to 10 lakh rupees, but there is no proper documentation. Government schemes are not provided, car insurance, bike insurance, nothing benefits are provided. Another dark side of this thing is that, sir, they are suffering from road accidents. When they are asking for claim, this gig workers made expenditure of 18,000 after road accident. Company only reimbursed 8,000. So after meeting so much expenditure and having no other facility, but still as there is no employment, no jobs available, so that is why they are working, and even the gig workers are working with insecurity and with under family unhappiness also. This is a factor. Most of this is the last gig worker I'm showing, sir. The hypertension which arises while traveling, their full body system is dependent on traveling. But the dark side is that they are not brought under the Occupational Safety Act, and they are having heat stroke, and at the road accidents are caused, and the family members are also not happy. After, even the incentives are getting reduced because of low amount of because large entry of the gig workers into the there is no entry barrier, so which is causing problem to many other workers, which were old workers, and the full system is algorithm based, so there is no control on anyone. The basic findings of the study is that those workers who are the primary bread earners, they are facing huge financial pressure. There is hypertension, no job security, long hours work. There is huge flexibility in their work schedule. But if suppose they said that night shift work is very high, so at that piece, most of the gig workers are working during the nights. So if they work during the nights, their sleep disorder and is arising, and many of the workers are suffering from insomnia. So now the question arises that government still needs to look into the gray areas of the study, their payment structure, their incentives, and the vulnerable is the market scenario. They are not claiming of their permanent employment. They are not claiming any permanent employment, but they are claiming that at least a minimum kind of security or safety they should be provided under the by the government or by the company. Thank you, sir. This was a small work we are doing on this. We need to extend it more for our study.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. So, is there any question? There is none. So I have one suggestion. That
Yes,
is
sir.
basically to look into the other side of the employment. Like actually, they are the employees. So who are the employer? So can we actually take some note of their opinion, of their initiative? Can we do that? Like I'm not sure whether that is available or not. So that's why.
So, one thing, sir, I will try to incorporate this thing into our study. But one thing is that we can at least meet the team leaders. But Zomato company or the Swiggy company, the main, the managing director, or they are, if we need to meet them, then there are certain constraint, or they will also not reveal the true facts of the story. But still, sir, I took your suggestion, and it is a good thing, and we will try to incorporate that also, so that we can bring up the views of there also.
Yeah,
Thank
so it's always not possible, in fact, to go into more detailed interview with the the Zomato or with the different companies, right? But if you just make an email and if you just ask their opinion over email, so that will also be very much helpful for your study, I believe, right? Because I'm not sure whether problems. I think they can understand the overall situation, but if there is some particular problem in any area, particular to that area or to particular to
Okay, sir.
I have just
Sir, I
one
understood, sir.
small. Yeah, can I ask the one small question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my question is, when you are interviewing delivery boy, so your sample is based on like a place where they are clustered, and you go and visit them, or is it a random, like the way you're interacting them on regular basis and you collect the data? So what is the procedure through which you collect the data? That's the question
Sir,
I wanted to know.
Sir, as I stay in North and Central Kolkata is my favorable area for the collection of the data. And the thing is that we can approach. I generally approach the dhaba and restaurants which are beside my home. I target one or two the gig workers, interview them, and they refer to another, but not on the same day I interview, because otherwise the answers will be same. So that is why I take the contact details as per the favorable time. I go if I get time. Otherwise, I take another day or go to another dhaba. Or another thing I try, sir, some of my friends, even one of my brother is a police officer. He refers to some dhabas. Then also by police recommendation, also these Zomato boys help, because they have a fear. One of the participants have said that they have a fear to disclose the things. They have a fear that I show my identity card, somebody refer me, then only they speak with me. And the thing is that, sir, with the due permission, I take their recorded interviews. All these interviews are recorded, then they are transcribed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So, any other query or suggestion? Okay, thank you then. So, we'll move to the next presentation. I think if there is anybody left who has actually joined later, is there anybody?
Sir, Ramayuni Dev is I have told that she will present at the end, but still she is not able to join. So we have to end the session here, I think. So, sir, if you have any concluding remarks, yes.
Yeah. Very good session. We have different papers with views on the gig workers, and we can come to the conclusion that basically the not in a good position, and the future of very uncertain for them, and we need about their situation.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
So, okay, so I think if that is the main occupation, so we need to think of different government schemes so that their employment can be made viable. So thank you all the presenter. I think we can conclude the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us time from your busy schedule. And your feedback on each of the paper hopefully will help our presenters to continue their research in future in this topic. And I would also like to thank all the presenters for their wonderful deliberation. Now, Rick sir, will you say a few words at the end?
Yes, sir. On behalf of the organizing secretary and on behalf of the college, I thank Dr. Devottam Chakraborty for chairing the session. Indeed, it was an honor and a privilege to have you, sir, among us. I think your valuable comments and insights will definitely help the paper presenters in further improving their papers. And I also express my gratitude to the paper presenters as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We will be starting the next session in about 10 minutes due to certain technical adjustments. The Google link will remain the same. I would like to mention the fact that the Google link will remain the same, and the paper presenters who are scheduled to present their paper in the next session are requested to use the same link and join that particular session. It will take around about 10 minutes. So kindly cooperate.